The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language, violence, and nudity. It is intended only for mature audience.
What up, man? My bad. Oh shit. I wasn't even on the panel. Hey, hold up. This is Tearing the Black. This is TTB After Dark, episode 61. Texas flood. It's flooding down there where I just came from, outskirts of pretty much hill country and outskirts of San Antonio, Uvalde. That's where that's little situation with the school happening. Today is July 14, 2026. And yeah, it's about to flood down there, man. Situation dynamic uncertainty is high, but if this new data is to be believed, we could be in for a dangerous night down there. Oh, look at that. Down there in Fredericksburg, Round Rock, Austin. Oh man. So pray for everybody down there. It just got over that flood not too long ago. I think 2 years ago. So here's the weather on that.
Increasing rain coverage and intensity with flash flooding possible. Rain coverage still elevated Wednesday, Thursday, and much lower on Friday. Still several more inches of rain ahead of us, especially southwest of Austin. Hey, good Tuesday evening, Chief Meteorologist.
Yeah, I literally just came from down there. So this is some of the flooding going on now. This happened earlier today, this morning. So this is how down there in San Antonio is you got hot, of course it's hilly, and there's a lot of floodplains down there. So yeah, it's bad. So hold on. I'm gonna do this right here. So, Greg, our governor already issued state of I've been different. Yeah, he already did a declaration of a disaster emergency declaration down there and around Southwest Texas, San Antonio. Ooh, 20 inches in Hondo. What was it, Mondo? The Hondo, man. Kerrville, that's where Johnny Manziel from. Oh man, it's crazy. Dripping Springs. That's where Tito. If y'all ever heard where Tito's at, that's where Dripping Springs is where they make Tito's at. But yeah, y'all pray for them down there, man. It's been raining hard. It's gonna be raining the whole week down up here too. So I mean, Texas is weird with the floods. So next story. So Save Act. So there's a lot of stuff going on in Congress today, man. It's a lot of stuff. Supreme Court actually had went to the Capitol. A lot of people, the Save Act. I got some news on that, but this is before the Senate voted on it today.
Senator, you've received almost $700,000 from the illegal labor lobby. Is that why you voted against the Save?
Shout out to Sarah Gonzalez, man. She down here in Blaze. I don't think she's still with Blaze. Yeah.
America Act?
Can you tell me who the illegal labor lobby is?
Yes, it's contractors, general contractors, hospitality companies, industries, construction companies and industries.
What do you know about the which Save America Act are you talking about?
The one that you voted against, sir.
Okay. And so you're asking me if I voted, I was against it because
you're receiving almost $700,000 from these lobbyists.
Do you have any idea what a remarkably silly question that is?
I think it's a pretty important one. I think your constituents want to know why you're betraying them.
Some math. Do you know what my election cycle, the total all-in election cycle cost was in 2020? It's $300 million. Do you honestly believe that I would make a policy decision based on that?
I don't know why you're betraying your constituents.
Who do you work for?
I'm independent.
Okay.
Why are you betraying your constituents? Why are you betraying your constituents, Senator?
Good luck on the clicks.
We just want secure elections, Senator. You're preventing us from getting that. You're betraying America.
Good luck on your job.
Good luck on yours. What is
Wow.
strange thing for Senator Tillis to say? $700,000 is not enough. He's a sellout, but not that amount because he receives $300 million. If I were an honest person and I were answering that question, I would just say, I'm not a sellout to anyone. I don't sell out for any amount of money. But Tom Tillis says he sells out, but not for that amount.
Oh, with that, I think what he was trying to say, to kind of messed up, is that why would he be selling out for that least amount of money when his overall budget, like his budget for his campaign, that wouldn't make sense to be over $300 million. That wouldn't make sense. I get what he's trying to say. It just don't come off right. And that's why she's saying what she's saying. The thing is too, man, they're not giving what's the problem? They're not giving a real reason why they're not supporting the Save Act. And speaking of Save Act, and here's my belief too. I think all this is theater. Because you get a Save Act, and already with redistricting, that pretty much guarantee, especially how the Democrats are going, they're going more far left. That overwhelmingly like settles the whole election situation. Because like as long as the Dems are going with a lot of the DSA stuff, we're gonna talk about a little bit of that. They start going with that. They start going with all the stuff they talking about. The platform. Matter of fact, hold up. Let me see. Let me find that. All right. That here. And move. All right, cool. Had to move some stuff around. So yeah. So this the SAVE Act got 50 votes thanks to Senator Susan Collins voting in favor of Michael Lee's amendment. They just proved it could get 51 votes with J.D. Vance as a tiebreaker. This version of the bill still contains voter ID and proof of citizenship.
On this vote, the yeas are 50 and the nays are 49. 3/5 of the Senate duly chosen and sworn have not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to. The point of order is sustained and the amendment fails.
Okay. Yeah, the better than ballots. That's some crazy stuff too, man. So this is. Mm, uh, this is something else. I'm sorry, man. All right, cool. I do. Speaking of DSA, I think this was funny. This is crazy. Right here. Bam.
Denise, California Independent, you are next.
Yes, I mean, can I speak? Can you hear me?
Yes, Denise, what's your question or
Okay.
comment?
Well, my comment is there's nothing. You know, I came from a country, so I know about that. So in the U.S., we're not going to be fooled by people like you. We are not. There's a reason why everybody's trying to get here. This is the only place in the world where if you work hard, you can make it. And that's what I did, coming here with nothing and made it. So that idea of democratic socialism, it's trying to put lipstick on pigs. We're not going to take it. We know what you're coming from.
Denise,
we're not going to take it in the U.S.
Can I ask what country you came from?
What?
What country did you come from?
I come from Haiti.
And what's your view of that term socialism?
Socialism is the worst thing that can exist in the world, and they know it. It leads to misery and death. That's what it is. And Lenin really fool people, and we're not going to be fooled in the U.S. There's a reason why we want to come here. It's because you can make it. That's the only place in the world where you can make it.
Got your point. That's Denise. Ashik Sadiq, give you a chance to respond.
Well, thank you for that comment.
I wish I had a longer version of that, but damn, he looked like a deer with a haircut. Deer with a haircut. Deer in the headlights. There's more stuff going on Capitol Hill. So basically, the whole problem with the I thought it had more to it. I'm a little off kilter tonight, man. I apologize. Yeah. All right. Right there. All right. Just now, President Trump demands 100% of Republican senators to immediately confirm acting Attorney General Todd Blanche into the full and permanent position. Yeah. So this is him, I guess.
Today, we are announcing federal and state charges, all of which were charged or unsealed at some point over the past 2 weeks, the past 14 days. Coordinated nationwide action. Since June 8th, we've charged 455 defendants across 56, like I said a minute ago, U.S. attorney's offices. and 45 U.S. states and territories. As alleged in the various indictments, these individuals participated in healthcare fraud schemes involving over $6.5 billion.
All right, we already went to that. I talked about that back in early June. So this is his truth, or I can't say that truth thing. Todd Blanche is doing a phenomenal job as acting Attorney General of the United States under Todd's incredible leadership at DOJ. Murder is down to the lowest point since 1900, and we just saw the biggest one-year drop in recorded history. Violent crime arrests are up 100%. Robbery, carjackings, assaults are all crashing. More than 500 million deadly doses of drugs have been already been seized, saving countless innocent lives. This is what happens when you unleash law and order on our streets. Instead of protecting vicious criminal thugs and releasing dangerous illegal aliens into our communities like the Democrats did for disastrous years under sleepy Joe Biden, Todd Blanche has worked hard for religious liberty, ending the weaponization of our justice system, protecting free speech. They're gonna argue. The left gonna argue that because of because of a lot of Jimmy Kimmel bullshit. Kept men out of women's sports, strengthening election integrity, and gone all out war against fraud like nobody in the history of the Department of Justice. He is tough, brilliant, and 100% loyal to our Constitution and American people. When the corrupt Biden Injustice Department, in the radical left, prosecutors try to throw me in jail and fuel our historic 2024 presidential campaign. Todd stood by my side and fought out the lawfare. He is a great lawyer, always very fair, and every Republican senator should vote to confirm Todd Blanche ASAP. President Donald J. Trump, boy, he got away with words. All right, there's more capital news. I'm just gonna play this. Let's get.
Also found that a DOJ staffer sent an unencrypted file containing USAID payment information and individuals' names to external DOJ personnel at the General Services Administration. Soon after, it was reported no disciplinary action was taken, despite the employee's failure to protect federal and non-federal employees' sensitive personal data and comply with security requirements. So again, Mr. Secretary, when employees who violate IT security rules are not held accountable, what does that message send to agents? Why don't you hold someone accountable?
Why are you bringing up USAID with me?
Because a DOJ staffer, GAO found that a DOJ had payment information. Payment information.
USAID, I do not oversee. I wear many hats in this administration.
And this is this is a file containing payment information. Are you not in charge also of the Treasury?
That has USAID. That has nothing to do with us.
But payment information has nothing to do with it.
Again, it was not sourced at the Treasury. Why are you bringing this up with me?
So GAO provided 6 recommendations to address identified weaknesses, including ensuring staff agree to comply with IT.
All right. USA under destruction. I can't believe I had to explain it. Only thing Treasury Department does is place the money in different departments, make sure they get the money. The departments, because USAID was under the State Department. It's under the State Department because it was a State Department creation to go to. It was the whole idea of USAID was it was a Cold War thought process of winning over hearts and minds in the Third War and Third War. I'm saying like I'm in H now. Third world countries like in sub-Saharan Africa, the Middle East, and parts of South America, where you could get funding quicker from the State Department. The USA would take up a lot of the charity work and all this stuff. That was the whole idea and everything. It ended up being more than that later on down the road. But the idea, because I believe it was a Reagan administration idea, believe it or not. That's crazy thinking about it. They I think it's either they built a building, but it was like probably older, probably Kennedy or somebody like that. But Reagan actually did the building where USA is over there by the State Department stuff. You go see it. Anyway, that's beside the point. Scott Bessent don't have no jurisdiction over what USAID actually doing with the money, or they security apparatus on how to be. They not USAID is not Doge is not even under Doge was like it was like an independent panel type situation by the White House. So like that it's kind of was to help Trump look at where he could cut. He could ask to cut spending there pretty much. So her going after Scott over what a certain department that did over with their money is kind of weird. And here's some more stuff from Capitol Hill. Jesse and Susan Collins just obliterated. I'm tired of that, man. Chuck Schumer for egging on violence against Supreme Court justices. Quote, senators, I let her say it in her own words.
In front of the Supreme Court building and called out 2 members by name, saying that they had released.
It's lies ago.
And that they will pay the price. Other public officials have called the court corrupt, out of control, and serving an extremist agenda, the court specifically. For example, a senator stood in front of the Supreme Court building and called out 2 members by name, saying that they had released the whirlwind and that they will pay the price. Other public officials have called the court corrupt, out of control, and serving an extremist agenda, the court specifically. For example,
all right. Let's see. And speaking of those, and speaking of all the corruption, stealing money, everything, we got a couple stories about that. If I'm going real fast, man, I am sleepy as hell. I'm just gonna go through the we'll talk about it a little bit more, but so it's happened today, right? Ooh, yes.
Prosecutor says half of Medicaid's $18 billion claims paid to Minnesota programs could be fraudulent. Prosecutors charged 5 people in a Minnesota housing fraud scheme today. First Assistant U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson claims 2 defendants pocketed $750,000 to travel to international destinations instead of helping Medicaid recipients find stable housing. Prosecutor says half of Medicaid.
Man. More charges. Plus one had. Right here. Speaking of that welfare and Medicaid fraud, here's some more stuff. So that a lot of, like I said yesterday, a lot of charges are coming down the pike when it comes to the whole Somalian fraud thing going up in Minnesota. And there's some more stuff.
A 50-year-old woman who laundered $500,000 for her role in the $300 million Feeding Our Future fraud scheme received a 6-month prison sentence.
Ms. Jama, do you have any comment?
Judge Nancy Brazel said that Zamzam Jama was one of the least culpable defendants, and she doesn't think that she'll see Jama back in federal court for another crime. Jama was part of a family fraud operation that 6 members of the Jama family ran out of Brava Restaurant and Cafe in Rochester, Minnesota. Zamzam's older siblings owned the restaurant. They were connected to Salim Saeed of Safari Restaurant, one of the worst offenders in the whole case. In all, the Jama family stole a total of $5.6 million, claiming to feed 1.7 million meals out of their tiny restaurant in 2020 and 2021.
Did you not realize it was all a fraud scheme, ma'am?
Zamzam Jama used fraud money to buy a home in Rosemount and a Toyota RAV4. The feds seized the house and vehicle, as well as nearly $150,000 in her bank account. She is ordered to pay back $491,000. The other 5 Jamas haven't been sentenced yet, but they are looking at a lot more prison time. I'm Lou Ragoose. Follow for more news.
Yeah, man. Like that probably happened earlier this year. Speaking of fraud, in the 76-day period between Trump winning the White House and Biden leaving the White House, $93 billion was sent from the Department of Energy, who gave it away with no oversight to entities with no financials. Wonder where that coming from. Quote, the 76-day period you're talking about, that's the period between the time that President Trump was elected and President Biden left office. How much taxpayer money went out the door of the Department of Energy? Department of Energy runs our nukes, by the way. From the loan program office in loans and commitments, $93 billion, well over twice as much as the previous 15 years. You're telling me that the Department of Energy in the 76-day period between their bosses was going to leave the office, gave our own money to entities that had no business plan? I gotta hear this. This is insane.
Mr. Secretary, I want to go back to some of your earlier testimony, be sure I heard it correctly. The 76-day period you're talking about, that's the period between the time that President Trump was elected and President Biden left office. Is that right?
That is correct.
And during that short period of time, 76 days,
I must have missed this. I didn't even see this situation happening.
how much taxpayer money went out the door of the Department of Energy?
From the loan program office in loans and commitments, $93 billion. Well over twice as much as in the previous 15 years.
So how do you vet and do due diligence on a loan in 76 days? One loan, much less $93 billion. How do you do it?
Don't.
I think it's probably pretty clear it wasn't done in many cases. As I mentioned, I'm told I'm holding back clearly in place stuff. There is lots of funds that have gone out the door and commitments that were made from businesses that provided no business plan, no numbers about their own financial solvency or how this project.
So you're telling me that the Department of Energy, in the 76-day period before their boss was going to leave office, gave or loaned money to entities that had no business plan?
Crazy.
Correct.
No financials?
Correct. A number of those were were before the 76-day period as well. I've come in with great concern about how this institution, this great American institution, has been run and how American taxpayer money has been handled. I'm sorry everyone's upset that we're taking some time to do it, But what we've seen,
I'm
and what
not
the
upset.
record shows,
I'm
is
not
just
upset. Could it be
irresponsible.
that a lot of people say you haven't returned your calls? Could it be that you and your colleagues have returned the calls, but the people calling just didn't like the answer? Could that be a possibility?
I'm not aware of that. You know, I give my cell phone number to any senator that
I know
wants
you
it,
do.
and I return my calls.
I mean, has your department gone dark? Somebody said your department's gone dark. Is it dark over there?
It doesn't look dark behind me.
I don't see any of you sitting on your hands. Somebody made that charge. I see everybody's hands. Let me ask you something else, Mr. Secretary. Does anybody ever come to the Department of Energy to get some of this free money and lie to you?
I have not experienced that, but I think it's a reasonable assumption that that has happened.
I wonder where that money went
Does anybody ever come to you? Or is it conceivable that some of these folks that heard about this free money came to you with a half-baked idea?
I think it's very conceivable. In fact, I've seen such plans that were
You've seen
half-baked would be
plans
charitable.
that didn't have a business plan, right?
Correct. A promise to develop one,
Yeah, yeah,
to
that-
find a location.
Just give me the money and I'll develop the plan later.
Correct.
And now you're going back through not money that's already been contracted, but you're going back through and checking each one of these loans and these grants to make sure there was no stealing, aren't you?
We are.
And
We
you
are.
make sure there was no incompetence, aren't you?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
We're looking at that, and yeah, my blood
Same-
pressure is rising right.
76 billion. Hold on, I ain't said no. I'm sorry, 93 billion. Man, they were finessing like a motherfucker, boy. Ooh, they were finessing.
Now, just thinking about what we have seen and what did happen at the
And
department.
you're going to tell some of these boondoggles no, aren't you?
That's correct.
And they're going to be upset, aren't they?
That's correct.
And they ought to be upset, shouldn't they?
I don't think they should be upset. I think they should be ashamed.
I am. It's rare that I'm speechless. But I want to be sure I understood. The people running the Department of Energy for President Biden's administration shoveled $93 billion, not million, $93 billion out the door in 76 days. And it just happened to be the time between when President Trump was elected and President Biden, their boss, was leaving. Is that right?
It is correct and distasteful. Confidence undermining.
My God. Look, I hope you take whatever time you need to go through all of these projects.
Man, 93 billion is set. That means they were just right. You know what? Thinking about it, I want to know where that money went. Number one. Two, I gotta think about how I'm gonna say this. What's up, Jenny? Yeah, I know, man. Like I was rocking with Biz real quick on a little slightly earlier, and we started talking about sports and shit. Got carried away. Anyway, with this whole that 93 billion, man. I wonder where that money went. Make you think. Speaking of more from the Congress, man. Matter of fact, I might could find a better copy. Hold up. All right, this is a better one. Won't have. I can just say it. So this is Speaker of the House Mike Johnson talking about communism. Let's read.
Carlos Jimenez for sharing your incredible life story. Thank you to Chairwoman
Thanks.
McClain. We're a little more animated these days than normal. I brought a little fire to our House Republican Conference meeting this morning because I feel like Carlos does. I believe everything is at stake right now. This isn't campaign rhetoric. It's not hyperbole. You see what's happening around America. I am often reminded these days of the writings of the founders, the warnings of the people who put together the principles that made us the greatest nation in the history of the world. They warned us against times like this. In more recent times when we were kids, in the 80s, Ronald Reagan used to remind us all the time. You hear me repeat it. You have to understand freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not passed along in the bloodstream. Reagan said it must be fought for, it must be protected, it has to be taught, passed along to the next generation so that they too will understand these principles that hold us together. I'm somewhat of a historian. I'm a constitutional law attorney. I know many of you we're all amateur historians here. You must be if you work on Capitol Hill. You watch and follow these developments. There's a small number of times in the history of America where the actual experiment in self-governance was on the ballot. The idea that we would preserve a constitutional republic, one nation under God, a government of, by, and for the people, all that is in question right now. For the first time, really, in my lifetime, this is a real question the American people have to decide in November in a midterm election for Congress and Senate. It's not something that we would have projected. I hoped and prayed it would never come to this, but here we are. The barbarians are in the gate. Last night I did a little, had a big group actually of VIPs that took on a tour. I don't get to do that very often anymore, but took a tour of the Capitol, a quick one. We wound up on the House floor. And I pointed to them, as you may have heard me reference this often, I think of it a lot. Why did Congress put "In God We Trust" above the rostrum of the Speaker's podium there in the center of the House? It's inscribed in the marble, as you know. You can't miss it when you walk in the chamber. It's the first thing people notice when they walk in at eye level and see it there.
Yep.
And I pointed out that in the visitor's guide to the House, it explains that. It says it was put there in 1962, and it says in the visitor's guide, it's been published for many years, it said Congress voted to place that there as a rebuke to the Soviets because of their philosophy during the Cold War. What was the philosophy of the Soviets? It's what Carlos just outlined, same philosophy of Cuba, the brutal dictatorship there that robbed him of his childhood and so many countless others. They've lost their lives trying to flee from that brutal dictatorship. The philosophy of the Soviets during the Cold War was Marxism, communism, socialism. That's the thing. And when Congress voted in 1962 to put that there, it was right after your childhood in the late 50s when the Castro took over and destroyed Cuba. It was a completely foreseeable result. We were fighting it during the Cold War on distant shores in the USSR. And Congress was resolute on that. They were all united, and they understood that that's not who we are as Americans. The reason we are the greatest nation in the history of the world, the most free, most successful, most powerful, most benevolent. You hear me say it all the time. The reason that we are the greatest nation is because we were built on an entirely different and opposing set of values. Congress put "In God We Trust" above the rostrum because they wanted to remind everybody who would ever serve in this body in Congress that there is a huge distinction between us and the Soviets' philosophy. Communism, Marxism, socialism, all this begins with the premise that there is no God. It's a totally different philosophy. In our declaration that we just celebrated, 250 years on July 4th, the nation's creed, as you hear me talk about all the time, the second paragraph, we hold these truths to be self-evident and all men are created equal. Our rights come from our Creator, God. They do not come from the government.
Yup. That's what people gotta remember. No matter what people might think, how this country is unfair to certain people and this and that, your rights are innate in you. Because, basically how they came up with the Bill of Rights and everything is basically saying, hey, these are things that man needs to survive and thrive in a well-balanced social structure. So basically they wrote down and made things like, you know, speedy trial, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, due process, right to bear arms, the whole Fourth Amendment, unlawful social seizure, Fifth Amendment, all the stuff that defends a person's individuality. Because when it comes down to it, we all come out one wound. We all go out one casting. That's just the way it is. That's how it is. And they wanted to make a document that highlight the importance of protecting that individuality and protecting, making people thrive under a system where they won't be oppressed by somebody that's saying they're a king, for example. Now, I'm not saying oppression escapes 100% because they still had slavery and everything, but the framework was there to get to a point where this nation can wean off the poisonous tit of slavery. That was the whole point. That's the whole point of Frederick Douglass challenging Congress to uphold the Constitution to everybody. All men are created equal.
The communists believe the opposite. They believe that the government the state is God. The state is the one that gives you all your rights. And you know what? The state can also take those rights away. And that's exactly what happens. It's inevitable. Communism and this philosophy has led to the murder of tens of millions of innocent people in the 20th century alone. It is a nightmare. It is a trail to certain death, okay? And that's why we're speaking in such stark terms, because we need America to wake up. We're not even, look, 35 years ago, Republicans and Democrats in Congress, when I was coming up in the Reagan years, they were fighting communism on a distant shore. Now it's here. But in Congress, they all agreed on that. They obviously knew that we had to fight communism. And so what they were doing here for domestic policy, that was foreign policy.
Yep.
Domestic policy, they were arguing over, marginal tax rates and the shades of regulation and how large the government should be. There wasn't a huge difference, a chasm between the two parties. Those days are gone. Right now, domestically, we are arguing, we are debating, we are fighting. The election will be over whether we're going to maintain our freedom in a constitutional republic, the greatest experiment in self-governance in the history of the world, the longest surviving constitution on the planet, the nation that everybody wants to emulate and everybody wants to come here. We have to seal our borders so they won't flood over them. We're the only nation in the world that has that distinction. We're the last great superpower. We are the greatest nation in the history of the world. We are fighting right now in Congress over whether we're going to maintain our status as a constitutional republic or we're going to trade that in, dismantle the foundations, and go down this dark road of death to communism. That is the question on the ballot this fall. Now, DSA published their platform. I hope you're all covering. I hope you're writing in depth about their platform. I read it out at an event a few weeks ago, and they made an ad mocking me reading their platform. Now, they didn't put the clips with the worst parts of it. Representative Jimenez just told you, Carlos told you that, well, of course they want to pack the Supreme Court and they want a unicameral legislature. They want the House to run everything, abolish the Senate, because they believe the House would be run by Marxists, communists. They'll be able to run the table on everything. They want to remove the president. What they also want to do is abolish all borders. They don't want any borders. They want mass amnesty granted to anyone who can come onto our shores without exception, even for terrorists and hardened dangerous criminals. Okay. They don't want prisons. It's in their platform. They want to remove the carceral state. They said no prisons. They don't want to fund the police. This is not a game. Everybody needs to understand these crazy little mini Mamdanis who are popping up all around the country. They are a danger to you and your family. This is not a game. If they promise you free stuff, there is far more beneath those promises that even some of these people do not understand themselves. And so we are here as the Republican Party to stand on the founding principles of the greatest nation in the history of the world. It is our duty to do that. And we're doing it on behalf of all of you, even the journalists who don't agree with our policies all the time. You better agree on these principles because it's what keeps you free. By the way, it's what keeps the press free. Okay.
Yep.
This is essential for your well-being and your family. This is not a game. This is not our father's Democrat Party. We're not arguing over marginal tax rates anymore. We're arguing over whether or not freedom is going to survive. And that's why we're so serious about this. Look, I'm a happy warrior, man. I like to get up and have fun, but it's not a fun time. We're in a war. We're in a philosophical war to save the greatest nation in the history of the world. And we take it very seriously. So we recruited extraordinary candidates. We are raising record amounts of money that is necessary to win these elections. And we understand everything is at stake. Ronald Reagan used to quote Abraham Lincoln, and he reminded us that America is the last best hope of man on the earth. As was asked here very well, very articulately this morning, if not here, where? There is no answer to that question.
There's no. Yep.
This is the best. Not a perfect nation. We're still in a process of making a more perfect union. But we are working every day to ensure that the principles of individual freedom and limited government and the rule of law and peace through strength and fiscal responsibility and free markets and human dignity are maintained, because that is the formula that makes a successful, free, happy people.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You know what I mean? Yeah, is this country perfect? No. No, there's we got quirks. We got, people still believe in certain things or whatever that affect other people. And I get all that. But overall, you can't make the good be the enemy of the perfect be the enemy of the good. Like, it's things we supposed to make it a more perfect union. Not just some person we elected. I mean, and what I mean by that, like, we supposed to be that change. We supposed to be that. Well, I mean, change. We supposed to be that person who uplifts the next neighbor when it comes to like personal, energy and stuff. Not energy, but like speaking life into them today. It's ultimately is their choice, but we supposed to be the change we want everybody else to be, if that makes sense. And like, communism is not the play, man, because like, that's, to me, I always look at that as slavery through government, but that's a whole nother subject. All right, let's see. I'll talk about that tomorrow. All right. So, Senator Warnock is melting down after reports say President Trump may soon expose massive 2020 election fraud in Georgia, confirming Warnock and Ossoff were elected by fraudulent means following a major FBI raid in Fulton County. Warnock fumes. Donald Trump is at war with our democracy, and Georgia is around zero. Whatever. Quote, Donald Trump is trying to cast down 2020 to justify interfering in 2026. We see what he's doing, and it will not work. Stay vigilant. Let's read.
FBI agents are going through materials found today during a search of the Fulton County, Georgia election office. That search is said to be related to the 2020 election. Correspondent David Spunt has details tonight. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening. FBI agents are still on site at the records warehouse for the Fulton County, Georgia Board of Elections. The matter is sealed before a court, meaning details are limited, but we can report this is related to the 2020 presidential election. Sources tell Fox News that agents retrieved documents, phones, and computers after a judge signed a warrant. President Trump has long made Georgia, and specifically Fulton County, a target of his complaints relating to the 2020 election. Shortly after that election, Trump spoke to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and said he needed 11,780 votes to win the state. At the time, Raffensperger said he felt pressure from Trump and denied any widespread election fraud. He continues to deny it to this day. Now, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis brought state criminal charges against then former President Trump and others in 2023 for conspiracy to overturn the election. The prosecution, Brett, was eventually derailed completely after it was revealed she had an intimate relationship with the top prosecutor on her team, and it could have tainted the case. Late last year, a judge dismissed the case in its entirety. Now, Brett, Last month, the Justice Department sued Fulton County, Georgia, seeking access to 2020 voting records after state officials allegedly failed to respond to a subpoena. Fox News has learned the head of the FBI's Atlanta field office was recently forced out in recent days, but it's unclear, Brett, if this is all related.
That happened. Let's see. I got Jan 2026. We're gonna see because Thursday night, Trump was supposed to have a press conference discussing what went down in 2020. But we'll see. And this is my last video because I'm about to lay it down. Hold up, damn. From Lizzie Tip Top, this husband of Caitlin Tracy posted a video crying after his Canadian wife was arrested for allegedly assaulting a teen girl wearing a Trump-themed attire in New Jersey. He conveniently leaves out why his wife was okay. Let's see.
I need help. I don't know what to do. My wife is being detained by ICE. She's in Ocean County Jail right now, and I can't get a hold of her. She keeps trying to call me, but they won't let me put money on her card. The kiosk in the Toms River jail is broken, and all the numbers and stuff they gave me wasn't right or wouldn't allow me to put money on her card.
Yeah.
And ICE is coming there to pick her up. I need an immigration lawyer. I need help. I don't know what to do. I don't have any money. I'm so fucking broke. But I gotta figure something out. I gotta save her. I need help. I need you to figure out.
So if you notice, he conveniently leaves out why his wife was arrested. So he just crying right now. Let's read.
I don't know. This just happened. I need help. I need my wife. I don't want her to get hurt. I don't want to see her get. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Yesterday, July 13th, my wife was detained by ICE and brought to Delaney Hall in Newark, New Jersey. My wife is a Canadian citizen and I'm an American citizen. We've been married for a little over 3 years, and I'm just doing anything I can to get her story heard and bring any help to and attention to her situation so that I can get her released, even if that means back to Canada. I don't care what your opinions are of me or the situation. That's kind of irrelevant. All that matters is her safety and her well-being. And to all the people who want to spread rumors and misinformation, I hope you find peace one day, but you are vile.
Yeah, you're foreigner and you come here to South America, you'll be deported. Yeah, here's the thing. If she over attacking some chick that wearing a Trump hat, that's kind of wild. Kind of deserve what you're getting right now, man. Keep it a buck. You gotta respect the laws, man. Yeah. Let's see, and more. But yeah, you gotta respect.
I need help. I don't.
Gotta respect the laws and stuff, man. But hey, that's all I got, man. This is a short stream. Tomorrow, I will be previewing the Odyssey. I'm watching it Thursday night opening, 7 o'clock show. So Thursday, I might, if I get on, if it's gonna be a quick live over the review of it, I might do a whole review video. I have to write that out and everything. Y'all have a nice night, man. I know I was late. Apologize about that. Time fly when you having fun, you know. But y'all know the deal. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment on replay. And by the way, if you could hype this video, you know, you can start hyping my videos. I appreciate that too. I need to start talking about that. But hey, appreciate everybody. Y'all have a nice night.